Since it is 2 p.m., we will call to order the October 20th meeting of the Development Waiver Review Committee. I'm the chairman, Ann Lippman. I'm the Community Development Director, and I'll ask my fellow members up here if they'd turn on their microphones and introduce themselves to get us started.
I'm Frank Baker, the County Administrator.
I'm Bruce Coyle, the County Engineer.
George Jones, Department of Transportation.
Lori Ashmore, Water System Director.
Jason Phillips, County Attorney. I don't vote, I just try to keep them in line.
And up front, we have Leah Wilson with Planning and Zoning helping us out with our minutes today. Let's see. Our first item on the agenda is the minutes from the September 15th, 2020 meeting. If everyone has had a chance to take a look at those, let me know if there's any changes, and if anybody has a motion, we will take that now.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Jones and a second from Ms. Ashmore. Any questions? If nobody has any questions, I'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes. Oh. Okay, a little too fast. So we have a vote of 4-0 and 1 with one abstention from Mr. Coyle, so the minutes are approved. Our first item on the agenda today is case number 2020-09-V. It is application by PR Land Investment LLC, Michael Miller, requesting a reduction of the county stream buffer from 50 feet to the 25-foot state stream buffer, and the reduction of the 75-foot county non-impervious buffer to 50 feet to allow for the construction of a hammerhead turnaround for fire access. Property is located in land lots 533, 534, and 535, District 3, Section 3, at the south side of Seven Hills Connector, approximately 3,200 feet east of Cedar Crest Road intersection, and it is located in Post 4. Is the applicant present?
Good afternoon, committee members. Let me get my stuff. My name's Chuck Rand. I'm with Essen Engineering Group, and I'm representing Piedmont Residential for the subject variance request. Michael Miller with Piedmont Residential is in the audience with us this afternoon. If there's any pertinent questions that you have of him, he's definitely available to take those. Again, I think that was a pretty good summary of the request for the buffer variance. What we're trying to do with this site, this is an R55 development, so it's senior living located off Seven Hills Connector. It's about 33-acre tract of property, of which 14 acres will remain in open space once the development work is complete at the site, and that's about 43% for an open space number. That excludes the lots, the right-of-way, the detention ponds, and the other items that are related to the development. What we're up here asking for today is for the reduction of the buffer in order for us to place a temporary turnaround. We had looked at a cul-de-sac, which is typically what you find in developments for turnarounds to get back out. Just with the T-type turnaround, it was a more efficient use of the space, as well as minimizing impact to the buffer areas. So the area that we will be disturbing, that's in the county buffer area, once grading activities are complete, that area will be revegetated in accordance with Paulding County development regulations and the zoning ordinance. What will remain behind at the end of the day will be the 883 square feet of impervious surface, which is a portion of the T-type turnaround, which you can see in the package. With that being said, if you have any questions, I will note that we did set aside additional buffer area for both county buffer and impervious buffer on another portion of the project, and I believe that exhibit's in your packet as well. And that's about a 10-to-1 swap out on buffer area for both of those items. So with that being said, if y'all have any questions, I'll be more glad to answer them.
Does anybody on the board have any questions right now?
Chuck, On this additional non-impervious buffer, it's pretty close to Seven Hills connector. At some point in time, we believe that roadway will be widened from its current 2-lane facility to a 4-lane facility. Would you be willing to move that area to another portion on this property to accommodate?
We would be willing to do that. That's not going to be, I mean, wherever that 8774 wants to live, we're more than comfortable moving it around on site. As I said, with 14 acres of open space, we definitely have room to do that. So we would not have an issue with moving that.
I think maybe at some point after this meeting is done, get together with Bruce and then DOT staff, we probably come up with a reasonable location for.
And I know I've talked to your staff, George, on the construction plan side. I know this is one of the items that we're looking at on the construction plans, and I know we're working on some off-site water as well. We can probably handle that with the discussion and then follow that up on the construction plans for formal approval by all departments.
Are there any planned, thank you, are there any planned water quality improvements to the pond that would mitigate some of the impact of this buffer encroachment?
What's included in those proposed stormwater management ponds, of course, is the water quality aspect and the channel protection aspect. It's included in the Georgia Stormwater Management Manual. So we feel that those alone will mitigate the water quality impacts. Water from this particular area will flow to the stormwater management area and will not bypass detention. You got something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a comment. I just want to point out that the stream runs, and it addresses this
Sir,
question.
sir.
Tell me who you are.
I'm sorry, Michael Miller,
Yeah.
I'm the applicant, addresses in the record.
Just need to have that for the
I
record.
apologize. So the stream that we're talking about runs from the rear of the property adjacent to the subdivision all the way out to Seven Hills. I just want to point out, we're not talking about encroaching along the entire length of that stream. It's just one small little area, and I just want, I know y'all have that in front of you. For whoever else may be reading the minutes or hearing or whatnot, we're not talking about encroaching on the entire stream. It's just an area that's probably, 2/3 the size of this room or smaller in one specific location, so.
And I would note, you're asking for approximately 1,600 square feet of variance and offering up 16,000 square feet of compensation, so it's more than adequate. I've got no objection to the stream variance and what's been offered. We do have a question on the Hammerhead cul-de-sac. In accordance with 2018 International Fire Code, there's some dimensions that, and we need to make sure the legs are 60 feet long on that cul-de-sac. If you can agree to meet this code on the length of the Hammerhead
And I believe at this point
fire truck.
that has already, we have looked at that with the fire department, and that should meet that code
Okay.
requirement that you speak of with the 60-foot offside,
Okay.
offset of the center line of both sides.
It's just not dimensioned.
Any other questions from members of the board? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, is there anyone wishing to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone wishing to express opposition, questions, or concerns regarding this application? Please step forward and come to the podium. And just as a reminder, at this time, address any questions you have to me, not to the applicant.
My name is Ed Ledford, and I live at 237 Oak Glen Drive, which abuts this property. I had a really small map to look at, so some of the questions may go away, but what is the width of the stream that runs through the middle.
I will write down your questions if you have other questions, and we'll have the applicant
And
come back up.
And then the follow-up to that is, where does the 100-year storm, when I looked at the stream, it doesn't look wide enough to carry the water within its banks, so it's going to come out of the banks. And so the question is, how far out does that go? And will that impact the buffer we're talking about? There's runoff comes onto the property, onto this property from the southwest, and I can't tell where that water is going to go. Part of it being coming out of my yard.
Okay.
But I can't tell from the layout that I've got where that water is going to go.
Okay, did you have any other questions or comments?
I've got a few more, if
Okay.
you'll bear with me.
Sure.
With regards to the detention basin that's there by the cul-de-sac, I can't tell from the sheet I have that there's access for the county to maintain the detention basin. It's my understanding they need a 25-foot strip with an entrance into the berm around the detention basin. If that, it appears that the only place that that could occur is at the end of the cul-de-sac, which would mean there would be more encroachment into the buffer than has been shown.
Did you have any other questions, sir?
I'm a little confused about the increased buffer location in that, is that not an existing creek which would have buffers attached to it? So I'm not sure what they're giving up in exchange for what they're doing down. But I can't really tell from the scale of this map what that, you understand what I'm talking about?
You'd be above that creek that they're getting a little buffer on and below you, based on
Yeah,
that pond is 2 rocks down below. Your section.
yeah, I'm up the hill from the pond that they're dealing with. While we're talking about that one, will that be, there's no fence across the back of that existing pond. Will that be fenced in and the fences down the side repaired?
Without pulling your specific plat, I don't know if your pond is HOA maintenance or county maintenance. County, I'd have to pull your plat and look. Some of the small lot subdivisions, HOA maintenance, some of them county.
I'm not aware that we have an HOA, but it
Yeah, at the time, there's not on that.
The last question regarding the detention basin would be, will be a fence completely around the detention basin. I can't tell whether that's on the drawing or not.
Okay, if that's your last question, I'll ask if there's anyone else in the audience that would like to speak or express opposition or has questions or concerns about this case. If there is not, I'll ask the applicant to come back up and address some of these questions and try to take notes, so I'll try to give them to you. Do you know what the width of the stream is?
I do not know the specific width of that stream. I will tell you that we have streams many on this particular piece of property, and we've done all we can to stay out of those buffer areas other than the point where we had our main crossing. I know Mr. Long's trying to pull this up, and I can point those out. I can add that we did a wetland and stream study on the particular tract that identified all the state waters and locations, and some of that information is probably available in that report.
While we're working on our audio-visual, can you answer some of the questions about fences? Perhaps fences across the back of the pond and around the drainage basin?
I can tell you that both of the ponds that are going to be tied to this project will be fenced. They will be gated in accordance with the county development regulations. What's going on in Oak Glen as far as what's happening with those two particular existing detention ponds that do drain into us, I do not know the current status of either one of those. There was one comment while we're on the streams talking about the 100-year event. We do understand with the two ponds that are located upstream are these two right here, and they drain back down into our site where we do have the one planned crossing. Then it drains out to the east on this side of the property. Both of those, the stormwater from the upstream developments are currently being detained in both of those ponds. And so what we will see on the outflow for that downstream through us is pretty much going to be bed and bank. I don't see an issue at all with the 100-year floodplain staying within the buffer areas with this adjacent buffer width above and beyond the state's requirement of 25 feet on either side of the tops of banks of the creeks. This is more than enough area to accommodate that. We did have to perform sizing on the downstream culvert for the main crossing and did design that for the 100-year storm event, and that backwater is going to stay off the lots. It will stay off the upstream property, so there should not be an issue on either one of those streams downstream of the existing detention facilities. The question about the swapping out of the buffer area for the addition, Mr. Ledford's correct. I mean, this area that we are allocating for area, while it is in proximity to the existing stream buffers that are there, this is above and beyond. It would be taking a portion of the existing impervious buffer, converting it into a county buffer for no disturbance, and then taking the impervious area and moving it further to the north. Mr. Jones has asked us to move that possibly to another portion on the site, which we have no issue to move both of those if that so fits the situation.
Can you point out on this map where the detention basin for this site will be located? I believe there was a question about county access and if that would cause any encroachment.
All right. The two detention facilities are here. This is coming off the entrance off Seven Hills Connector. And then the back pond is downstream of the detention pond that I believe Mr. Ledford's development drains down into and through us. Access to these ponds will be through the hammerhead here into this one, and the access to the lower pond will be off the side of the main road coming into the development.
And will those be county maintained or HOA maintained?
They will be
ponds?
county-maintained ponds. That's currently how they're laid out to be.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that answered all the questions we had. If there's anything else you'd like to note?
At this point in time, I'm good unless y'all got some more.
Did anyone on the board have any additional questions? Okay, if there are no more questions from the board, I will take a motion on this application.
I motion to approve the application as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the application as submitted by Mr. Coyle and a second from Mr. Jones. Are there any questions on this application? If there are not, I will take a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are no opposed. The motion is granted unanimously by a vote of 5-0. Let's see. Our next case today is case number 2020-10-B, application by Elite Engineering LLC, Jonathan Jones, requesting a variance reduction of impervious buffer setback from 75 feet to 50 feet for specific lots denoted on site plan within an LDQRD, low density quality residential district. Property is located in land lots 962, 984, 985, and 1033, District 3, Section 3. Location of the property is at 402 Dooley Road, 684 Gullidge Road, east of Gullidge Road, south of Dooley Road, and north of Colbert Road, located in Post 4. Is the applicant present?
Yes, ma'am, I am. My name is Jonathan Jones. I'm with Elite Engineering. I'm here representing the applicant for the requested modification of the impervious setback for several lots located within the proposed development. The request is a little bit different than the previous. It is a reduction of the impervious setback only to the 50-foot buffer. There's no intended encroachment within the state or county buffers. It is merely the opportunity, if the builder wishes to put a larger footprint on these particular lots, so that they may be able to put some impervious within the impervious for these particular lots. Our proposed mitigation is a bioretention filter trench that will be installed and will be regulated for review by a design professional at the time of CO to ensure that it's been designed and installed per the design and installed properly. The sole purpose of this is to enhance the lots to make it where they can build a larger home instead of having a smaller footprint. The idea for this particular development is these homes will probably be above the $300,000 mark. So I'll be happy to answer any additional questions you might have regarding this application.
Do any of the board members have any questions at this time? Going once?
No question, but I followed your calculations and found them to be very conservative.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. At this time, is there anyone present who would like to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone who would like to express opposition or have questions or concerns regarding this application? Okay, sir, please approach the podium. There's a sign-in sheet there, and if you'd state your name for the record.
I'm Jim Boyle, and I live at 524 Dooley Road, which is right there at the hard left turn at the bend there. And how does that affect me? I'm really not sure what a stream variance is for me, but I guess that applies to water runoff. Is that right? Generally?
Bruce, you want to give us a stream buffer?
According to the last deal, looked like. Is that water runoff? Anyway.
It's not water runoff. The state and all of the jurisdictions in Georgia have stream buffers. If you have any kind of creek or stream, there's a state 25-foot buffer, and then local jurisdictions have added additional buffers and an impervious setback. So what they're asking for is a reduction to the impervious setback. So impervious, if you had an impervious setback, you could cut the trees, but you couldn't put a parking lot or a patio or something like this. So by waiving that.
Does that affect me?
What was your address again?
524. I'm right there in that hard
Okay.
bend on Dooley
Right at the
Road.
top.
Hard left turn. I border that at the turn. I have that frontage on the road.
We'll make note of that, and
Okay,
we'll have the
thank you.
applicant come
And
address
then,
where
yeah,
the,
impervious footprint, I was curious about that too, what that meant. And how big are the lot sizes? I understood that they, at the last meeting, that they were going to be 2 to an acre lot size. And I just wondered if they had made a plot yet to show the buffer that will be on my property line that they agreed to put in at the last meeting.
okay,
If there's a
at
plat
this
for
point,
that.
the question of rezoning is not something that we can deal with. We are just dealing with the stream buffer, but we will have the applicant come back and
So
address
there's a-
your property and
There is a
how-
rezoning in progress?
No, this was previously rezoned earlier this summer to the
And,
low-density quality residential district. So the lot sizes are not something that this board can address today. We are just taking up the stream buffer variance.
And what does quality mean generally? What lot size is quality?
I think the applicant can answer that for
Okay,
you. So,
thank you very much.
yeah, if you could come back and answer this.
I'd like to address Mr. Voles' concern. The proposed variance is internal to the property. It is actually the two streams that feed the two existing lakes on the Thompson family estate there. It is a significant distance from Dooley Road and from actually any adjacent property. So there would be no adverse condition to Mr. Voiles. As it relates to our zoning, we did a low-density quality residential zoning, and we did 214 lots. And if memory serves me correctly, we were slightly less than 2 units per acre. And I believe that the required perimeter buffer that would be in that area, if I'm not mistaken, is 20 feet. Mr. Long probably can confirm, or possibly Ann, but I believe it's a 20-foot buffer that would be required for all adjacent properties, and that's what is intended at that location. But as it relates to this particular variance, there should be zero impact to Mr. Voiles or his estate. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, is there anyone else wishing to express opposition or with questions or comments?
Ms. Lippman, just for the record, I do want it noted that Mr. Boyle did try to contact us, and we tried to recontact him twice while this was advertised, and I know that his concern was about the buffer that he was granted previously, so I think you answered that question.
Looks like you might be busy.
What does that impervious mean?
It's roof, pavement, patio, that's what the impervious. Creeks are protected by 3 buffers. The state of Georgia has a 25-foot undisturbed buffer. The county adds additional 25-foot for a total of 50-foot undisturbed buffer, roughly each way off the creek. Then the county also adds an additional 25-foot no impervious, which is roof, driveways, patios, sheds. It can be grass, it can be disturbed, it can be lawn, but it's not to be impervious. And what he's asked for on certain lots is some of it to be reduced because it's just tight. And then, but what he's offered up is a 4-foot deep trench, planted buffer, a wetland bio-treatment system that the water from that lot can go to and be absorbed. He's offered up substantial more than what he's asking for, so we don't object. And looking at the topography of your property, you're above this subdivision. You should not receive any water from this subdivision.
Okay, does anyone else on the board have any questions or comments?
I do, but I'm not sure who to address them.
You're going to address them to me, and I'll figure it out.
I'll just address them and someone can jump in. And that's about the long term of the mitigation. And whose responsibility any maintenance is on those mitigation measures. Does that fall to ultimately the lot owner, the homeowners association, or to the county?
Can I address?
Yeah.
The individual homeowner would be responsible, but the design of this is it's a layering of number 57 stone with sand and then topsoil, and then it's planted with, I think, a proposed willow trees and some wetland plantings. So for all intents and purposes, there's not a lot of maintenance involved unless the homeowner were to do something that would cause them to clog up or dump grass clippings or something that would cause a problem, whether they had this situation or whatever. But it is a responsibility of the homeowner. I've done a bunch of, they call them curtain drains in Cobb County, and I've done a bunch of them in Cobb. Anytime a portion of a home bypasses in Cobb, they're automatically required. And so sometimes they'll require you to take your roof drains and pipe it to it, or if it discharges and flows to the bioretention trench, you don't have to pipe it. And so they've always been the requirement of the homeowners, much like a septic system or any other privately owned system. So.
Any other questions? If not, would anyone like to make a motion on this application?
I'll make a motion, we approve this application as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Coyle and a second from Mr. Baker. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I will take a vote. Everyone in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none. The motion is approved by a unanimous vote of 5-0. All right, our last item of the day is old business. It is case number 2020-08-V, application by Elite Engineering LLC, Jonathan Jones, requesting a variance reduction of impervious surface buffer from 75 feet to 50 feet for specific lots denoted on site plan within a low-density quality residential district. Property is located in land lots 401, 402, 403, 463, and 464, District 3, Section 3 at 2976 Cedar Crest Road and 2978 Cedar Crest Road. This is located in Post 4, and this item was tabled from September 15th. Mr. Jason, do I need to have a motion to bring it off the table?
No.
No.
It's scheduled for today. We're good to go.
Okay, so that is our first case of the day. Is the applicant present? So.
Of record, there was one person that made two separate complaints or expressed opposition, concern about the streams, protecting those streams.
Okay,
I don't have her name. Her name is on file. Those will be
Okay.
included in the record.
thank you.
Good afternoon again. This is a similar request. The proposed mitigation for this is the same bioretention trench. There are
There's signage.
less quantity of lots that are involved in this request, and this is predominantly on the north side of the creek. The creek meanders along the property line, and it pinches a couple of the lots to where you can only fit a 45-foot deep home. The proposed builder is looking to build 65-foot deep homes, and so they do have a product that would fit on here, but in the interest of making the product in this community have the best opportunity from a footprint standpoint, the request has been made for these particular lots to be increased in size for the impact of the impervious. And once again, same mitigation requirements would be for the homeowner to maintain the bio-retention trenches. And we've designed those based on the square footage of impervious on each individual lot. These lots that are of question, they range anywhere from 15,000 square foot all the way up to nearly an acre. So they're not really small lots, it's just the footprint that's been created is small due to the impervious setback encroachment and what angle it runs across the lots. So I'll be happy to, once again, answer any questions you might have about this.
Okay, does anybody on the board have any questions? Okay, no one has any questions from the board. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on behalf of this application? Anyone in the audience who would like to express opposition or has questions or concern regarding this application? Doesn't look like we have any public comment today. One last chance, any questions from the board? If not, if anyone's prepared to make a motion, we'll go there.
A motion to approve the application as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for Mr. Coyle and a second for Mr. Baker to approve the application as submitted. If no one on the board has any questions, I will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is no opposition. The motion is approved by unanimous vote of 5-0. That is our last agenda item today, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second from Mr. Baker and a second from Ms. Ashmore. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.